But when you take them to put onto a spacecraft, especially one as demanding as going to Mars, then you have to immediately be aware of the mass and the size. You know, to lift this thing and transport it these hundreds of millions of kilometers through the space really does restrict. With Mars, you have a rather small window of a couple of weeks every 2 years and to launch. And if you miss that window, then you're going to have to wait 2 years.
The amount of surface wind will affect how much of a soil sample is blown away as dust and how much dirt remains for the instruments to analyze. Phoenix will measure surface wind by means of a telltale.
It will give us some indications of both wind direction and wind speeds, and it will be imaged, so it will be possible to take an image and show, okay, now that was a strong wind, then and determine what are the correct timing to put samples into the many experiments on board. If one wants to get rid of the dust component, one would select a time of day where the wind is blowing heavily. But if one wants a time of day or selects a time of day with low wind speed, one will get the dust also. The atmosphere is less than 1% of our atmosphere, so there are not enough molecules to move such a device. And so it had to be very sensitive, but still very robust, because on the way up through the atmosphere, our atmosphere, it will be exerted to forces that are 6 orders of magnitude stronger than it's supposed to measure. And that was the challenge, basically. During the launch, which is the most harsh treatment, while everybody is having a good time opening champagne and cheering, I will be somewhere throwing up. I know what it's going through at that time.
A sour stomach and sleepless nights are not uncommon at this point in the mission for all those who are assembling their own instruments.
Be back at 10:30.
What's next?
That's nice.
The principal investigator is not immune. He's also the principal worrier.
It's going to be very time intensive, because getting the arm to just the right position.
From a high-level view, we're in great shape. When you look at some of the details, it's scary.
And now you can click around on the image itself, just
Yeah,
based
but
on
we
the
don't have any
settings, it'll
pictures
show
of that
you
right
an
now.
outline.
We had 2 major concerns several months ago. One was the landing site selection.
See if there's any rack image of the same target.
There aren't any, because this is based on the MIPL data that we had from a while ago.
And the other was the landing radar. If it doesn't work, we don't know if we're near the surface or far from the surface, and if we don't know, we may have to burn so much fuel to be prepared that we may run out of fuel before we get there. We went from a rapid deviation from being on budget, on schedule, technically healthy, everything going smooth, instruments delivered right on time, to a month later, all of a sudden, the schedule's blown, we're out of money, we have technical problems that look insolvable. Where did this come from?
I would not trust that unless we had some low independent measurements. I mean, I try to get low.
For us, we have another 154 days, I think it is, to find all the problems in the spacecraft and correct them before we launch, and then after that we have no chance to do it. We're building the oven experiment called TIGA, and they had a major setback about 2 weeks ago, and they had to redesign it, rebuild it, requalify it, all in the space of the last 2 weeks.
All the reworking of TIGA, the gas analyzer, happens in a spotless room at the University of Arizona.
Today we're just a week or 2 away from actually delivering the instrument to Lockheed Martin. We had a problem with the mass spectrometer that we believe we fixed, and we are now testing to make sure that that repair is going to work. TIGA stands for Thermal and Evolved Gas Analyzer, and what it's going to do after we get to Mars is it's going to analyze some soil that we dig up, and it will heat up the soil and see if any gases are given off. And then we actually analyze all of the gases given off from that